Insights, a podcast by Pharma Aero.
Welcome to Pharma Aero's collaborative podcast. It's good to be back with our second episode of the series about sustainability. I am Frank van Gelder, Secretary General of Pharma Aero. We meet today three members of our global community representing three very different segments of the healthcare supply chain. To find out what is sustainability in their line of work and what are they doing towards it. And, as you will soon learn, what are the challenges they face. Brussels Airport is today with us in the studio, Topa Thermal and Hive, interviewed by Alice Iacubescu.
Hi, my name is Miro Skorepa. I'm representing here Hive company, provider of IoT data for pharma companies, includes locations, temperature, and other elements of the supply chain.
My name is Jacques Comte. I'm working with a company called Topa and we are a designer of cold chain packaging.
Hello, my name is Speltdoorn. I'm from Brussels Airport Company. I'm Senior Manager for Business and Network Development. I'm also part of the Board of Directors of Pharma Aero.
Welcome to our podcast, and let me ask you first, what is your company's approach to sustainability?
From the company point of view, we all always ask ourselves, what is the definition about sustainability? Because when we talk to customers, they all approach it from a different angle. When you look at packaging, one of the topics we have is that we want to use less packaging material, and that's where we try to design a sustainable way. Let's say as a company we are 100% carbon neutral already. They looked at electricity, they look at heating, they look at the machinery, they look at, for example, using the use of air conditioning, more insulation of the company, solar panels on the roof, that kind of stuff.
What about Hive, Miro? What is your company's approach to sustainability?
We as a startup, we have adopted the principle of what we call embedded sustainability. So we don't look only about the CO2, we look at the whole concept of the business we do. So we have designed the product and the processes around the circular economy. First of all, the design of the product, it's 18% smaller than an average nearest competition. So as a smaller product, it consumes less resources, plastic, transport cost, etc. As a product life cycle, we design it around the circular economy in a way that we say it's a return, recharge, reuse. So we return it to a nearest point where we recharge and put it second life. And we don't return everything back to Switzerland, we do that locally. But we also make the decisions on the packaging material. So it has to be recycled material. It might be more expensive as an input cost, but it's longer term more sustainable and profitable. So in the case of batteries, which is quite a big topic for recycling, our new product, it's going to use printed batteries, which are fully recyclable without any additional extra work. We also give 2% of our revenue into the projects which are beneficial for the planet. We work with schools to develop a training bus to go around schools and educate kids about the circular economy.
Samuel, what is Brussels Airport view on sustainability?
Well, as an airport, sustainability is the elephant in the room. We are emitting obviously a lot of CO2 towards the region. CO2 is not only our main focus for sustainability. Sustainability for us is also looking at your local environment, not only on a CO2 level, but also on the health of people linked with the noise level. So we are looking at reducing noise levels as an airport. The decarbonization of the CO2 then is tackled by using sustainable aviation fuel, of course, working together with the airlines on pushing them on using newer and greener aircraft. Talking about the A320neo or the 737 MAX or the 787 and so on, if we go technical. And we really push this by adopting the airport charges. So a very loud aircraft or polluting aircraft will pay 20 times more than a green aircraft. So this way we push away the older aircraft from our airports, helping us with the decarbonization, helping us with the local environment, less noise, people are happier living around the airport. It's also looking at modal shifts. I'm here on behalf of the cargo department. We're also looking at the passenger department, so you have a better connectivity to the airport by using trains, trams, electric buses, and so on. For cargo, this means also looking at diversifying your offering towards beyond points, and that's why the first time ever we are here together with the Port of Antwerp. And so we're looking at ways to work together as a seaport and an airport. And we're also, of course, a large owner of buildings. An airport is basically a landlord of multiple facilities, especially at cargo. We own a lot of land and are developing these buildings. These buildings that we are developing currently are, of course, with sustainability in mind, and which what Jacques mentioned is looking at the insulation of the building, but also about making sure that you are using green energy, solar, heat pumps, even biofields. And so it's underground storage of water. And in the winter, you can use the warm water from the summer, and then the other way around in the summer, using the cold water. And of course, diversifying your pool of employee. We really want to push universities to work in aviation, think about new ways to make our industry more attractive. And of course, the newer generation, they're all about circular economies and sustainability and so on. So we hope to push it this way. So it's not only about CO2 for us, it's a whole multitude of items for us.
We can imagine that it's expensive to become sustainable, but could it be in the end profitable? And may I ask, is there a choice?
It's a tricky question. I think obviously, yes, it's expensive. For an airport, you need to invest in electrifying the ground handling equipment and sustainable aviation fuel. It needs a blending facility. Luckily at Brussels we have direct access to the NATO pipeline, so this helps us a little bit. But I think you don't really need to look at the cost of sustainability, but you really need to look at what your gain is from it. And I think especially for an airport, it's quite political as well. If you look around us, there's multiple airports facing issues with becoming green. It's not easy. The European Union is quite strict on making transport green, and we have to, but it's all very strict deadlines. And with these strict deadlines, you invest a lot of money in things that have not been trialed before. So as an airport, you try something first ever globally, and it can fail, and you've invested a lot of money on it, and it's lost. And that's why we really look at partnerships. For instance, again, like at Changi Airport Group, where we can look together. Have you tested this in Singapore? Yeah, we did, and it didn't work. And this way we can already think about something else. And I think this is our way forward, these partnerships. I think that's why the organization Pharma Aero is so important, where we can all learn from each other and apply the things that work and steer away from the things that didn't work.
What about Hive, Miro?
We don't pass on the cost. It's realized through the internal processes to have a pricing which fits, because we are in a competitive landscape. So we cannot increase prices without helping to offset the increased cost by other means.
Jacques?
We have to use less material. We have to use reusable material or material which you can easily dispose. That was one of the main goals. Then because we designed it slimmer and we designed it at a lower kilos, we saved, let's say, 150 kilo per shipper. We win 35% on billable weight. We can hold, let's say, 5 on an ULD instead of 4 on a ULD when you talk about shipping on air. And when you talk about CO2, and that's what I said, that's how we always take the total project as an approach. Not only the packaging, which is important, but also what is the customer use it for. When we talk about, we have, let's say, one project we did with a large pharma company, we save, let's say, 600 kilos per overwrap on CO2. Compare that to, let's say, an average usage of a car per day, they use about 10 kilos of CO2 per day. Compare that to the annual use of the shipper, you can average on 102,000 cars annually, which we save on CO2.
What do you see as being a challenge when it comes to becoming sustainable?
What we see as a challenge, still a lot of customers use sustainable as a fancy word, because at the end they talk about cost. And the challenge for us is to not just focus on packaging, but focus on the complete, let's say, lane they have to go through. The difficulty we face is that the supply chain department, they want to have align everything which has to do with supply chain. The purchase department is just putting us on cost. And the problem is that they do not communicate within those companies, because you have to align everything. You have to say, okay, where are you going to, what do you need, what is the handling, because everything has to do with. And of course, with us, price is always an issue, so we are fighting to keep costs down, using recyclable materials. We produce our own products in-house in Holland. We have a big cardboard company which we produce our components with. So that's the challenge, to get everything aligned. And that it could mean that, let's say, when you look at the package itself, it could be more expensive. But when you look at the complete lane, when you ship it, for example, from Amsterdam to, let's say, to the US somewhere, at the end it's beneficial. And that's the challenge, to have everyone on the table, say, okay, let's see, we can design a smaller, lighter packages, but it costs you, let's say, a couple of euros more. But at the end, you will save, because it's less on CO2, less on weight, so that's the thing.
Jacques Le Comte, Topa Thermal, closing our conversation about sustainability today with Samuel Speltdoorn, Brussels Airport Company, and Miro Skorepa from Hive, interviewed by Alice Iacobescu. And we will be back soon with even more perspectives of sustainability offered by our Pharma Aero members from around the world and from all segments of life science and supply chain. I am Frank van Gelder. Till next time, and all the best to you.
Insights, a podcast by Pharma Aero.